Hello YouTube family, James Green, Short Series Shenanigans. So, let me get the, there we go. Alright, so what we're going to be working on today, and I've already started on it, one of the things that needed to be replaced was, which I suspected, was I planned on going in and replacing these plugs that was on the side here. Okay, because actually I took this down to the car wash and I power washed off garbage, and I planned on going through each of these boxes. And of course I was sure to power wash, you know, around here and everything because it was pretty greasy. But I had planned on replacing these anyway because they just looked corroded. Well, as soon as I got this plate off, you can see the lack thereof of what remains of it. So yeah, you can see the back of it there. So I've got new outlets and we're going to replace them. Matter of fact, I'll hold on to that. So yeah, that's how it was held together, by gunk and grease. And we've got some new ones, and these are actually the preferred 20 amp weather tamper resistant outlet. Okay, there's the information if you guys are curious. So those are the ones that I chose, just instead of a regular outlet. Now someone added this for 110 outlet, and I haven't powered any of this up, so I don't know whether, and I haven't opened this compartment up. Well, I have, but it appears to be wired, pulled one leg off 110 to here, and so it looks from the wiring that they have in the back here from everything that this is 110. So I will, once because I'm going to hardwire this machine up. Once I do, I will put a meter in here and find out for sure. But these do need to get replaced prior to. So there's the cover plate that's supposed to be on there, and I went ahead and got a new one just in case while I was there. I wasn't sure, you know. This one will work with the new outlets. I will probably go back with the original one, and I'll make sure that I put some silicone around the outside and seal it just to make sure I don't get any, you know. I am going to be eventually running mist coolant on this. Back it up a little bit here. I am eventually going to be running mist coolant on here, and but it's going to be blowing back that way, and there's plenty of catch trays, but still, anywhere where I can go through and seal up, you know, little holes to make sure coolant doesn't get, or keeping foreign debris out of it. I'm definitely going to do that. So we'll go ahead and get started. We'll keep taking these apart here. So I've just undone those, and it's slid out. You can see that's what's left of the plug. And again, this machine's not even wired up, so everything's totally dead. There's nothing to disconnect because it's already disconnected. And we can see how this is wired in here. And I may even pull, if I can pull this box off, I may pull this box off and clean it up. But it's going to get a total redo. That is for sure. Lots of stuff in the trash. So yeah, you can see the outlets, they're just falling apart. Not much left. Old Bakelite. So it's pretty interesting how they have it set up here. And what I like to do, I'm a fan of the phone. I'm a big fan of the phone and the camera. So that you take things apart, get your camera out, because it's hard to remember because you get distracted because of how they have this jumpered in here. And so that I can remember, I can literally take a picture of this, go do something else, and refer back to my picture of what is set up and how. It has proven very, very, very handy for stuff. You know, anything I take apart, I take pictures of that I haven't worked with before. And so that way you don't forget. And when you get done, I go back and, you know, I'll post pictures like this on Instagram. And see, I've got the double boost light up here. I don't know if you can see it. Those are handy for stuff like this. So you can get those at IKEA. They're like 14, 15 bucks. I'm a big fan of take pictures of everything. Flip it upside down here, and what do we got? And I may even replace this wire in here. More than likely, because that's some old wire, but I'm going to go ahead and take pictures of it so I know how to run the new wire. So yeah. Well, if we have to trim it back, we've got plenty here. That strain connector is a little loose, but this is the opportunity to, if you want to adjust or fix anything, now's the time to do it, as a matter of fact, so that we leave it in place. I'm just going to go ahead and snip right at the edges of that. Here's the ground. And there's that. So we got the black, the white, and the ground. The good, the bad, and the ugly. So that is what's left of. Rather than disassemble all that, I'm just going to cut it because I'm going to recreate jumpers. But I just figured I'd show you some of this stuff I don't show on camera. It's unique. So definitely the new plugs that I'm putting in, I'll go ahead and open one up. And I'm going to clean this up, and I'll do that off camera. But the reason I chose these types of plugs, because they are intended for weather tamper resistant. You don't want debris to be able to accidentally get into one of the outlets. Even though, you know, we're not outside and they are weather resistant. And I just thought it would be a better thing for in here. I'm under the presumption that, you know, sometimes people will pull a leg over here, and these could be 220 single phase. Don't think so, honestly, but from what I've looked at in here and how it's set up, it looks to be they pulled off one leg, because this whole machine is 220 3-phase, and they've pulled off of one leg, one phase, 110, 120, whatever you want to call it. There is a plug on the back that I've already replaced. And it's where the hydraulic unit will plug in, and I actually replaced it because you can see there on the corner it is fractured. I don't know if you can see the crack right through that side there. There you go. So yes, this got replaced because it's very, very, very old. Matter of fact, I will hold it up to the camera and you can see just how old it is. Made in the US, old school. There you go. So this got replaced with a new one, and the cord that is on the hydraulic unit, I'm actually taking the hydraulic unit apart. I've already disassembled the tank, and the frame is actually the tank on the reservoirs on the top, and it drains into the pump. There's an electric motor that has the pump to the end of it, and I've already got it sitting over there. I've got it cleaned up. I'm actually going to take the whole metal frame down to the car wash because it's easier for me to take it there. And yes, the car wash that I go to will allow you to clean greasy items like this there, which is good. But it got the Purple Power pre-soak. Purple Power pre-soak is a good thing because there was many, many, many years of greasy, oily, which was good. You know, buying a piece of equipment, it was great that this thing was covered in grease and oil, because coming back I got in Flagstaff and it sprinkled a little, rained on, which is fine. You know, I'm still going to go through and I'll open the back cover on the motor. It's spinning freely. There's no grinding. It's very, very smooth. But we're, you know, I've still got to go through the electric oiler here, that's something else I have to go through, and I've never been into one of these. But I'm going to go through, and everything on here is going to get looked at, TLC. The handle that's over here, as a matter of fact, I'll go ahead and show you guys, at least the camera. So this is the traverse wheel that goes in here with the gear, and it fit right here. And so you put it in and it would engage in the table, and it allows the table to slide. You pull it back and it won't move with it, just freewheels. But you can see there's quite a bit of movement there. So I don't know if there's a bushing here I can take out or not. I believe there's a needle bearing in the inside, but I'm going to look at all this in here, and we may end up, because it does look like you can remove this shaft, I may end up, if I cannot pull those bushings or bearings, which if I can, I'm going to replace those, but this shaft is pretty worn, and the little lock that goes in the side here was not engaging correctly. And I've got the manual for this that shows all of this, and there might be a missing part in here or something. And so you can tell this shaft has been repaired at one time. On the end, it's been brazed up. So I am definitely going to rebuild this shaft for this. So that'll be a part of the rebuild, and which is fine. You know, stuff like this, you know, it was worth it. I knew it had to have some TLC put into it. I'm going to get some new hydraulic hose just because it's like, while I've got it apart, I'm going to go through and finish cleaning. I'm going to disassemble all of this. Is going to come off and up. I'm going to go through each one of these switch boxes here just to make sure the contacts are good. I do know that in reference to kind of roll back a little bit, the switch that was on the mill here, what I did learn, and for those of you that don't know, any drum switch will not work. So there are drum switches that are 110 only. There are drum switches that are 110 220 single phase. There are drum switches that are 220, 440, 480, up on the higher voltages, 3-phase. So this is 220, 3-phase / 480, because this machine can be wired either way, just like that electric motor for the hydraulic unit. So the drum switch, what I had an issue was in that was there are 10 contacting poles. One of them's a ground, but the way the contacts work with springs, and part of the switch was fractured, and I thought, okay, the Bakelite had fractured. The switch, I could take it apart, and I looked at, okay, wait a minute, I can, you know, there was enough of the Bakelite left there. I just had to epoxy that because that's where it held it in part, and some of the screws were loose, so it was just a matter of tighten up the screws, re-epoxy, and then all the contacts, I just went in with a little points file, you know, for those of you that old enough that know what points are, went in there and just shined them up. After I tightened up everything and the epoxy dried, worked perfect. So I'm definitely going to go into this switch in here, and I'm going to go through every electrics component, even this power switch here, and make sure everything is okay. Just giving it a good once over. But I found one switch exactly like that on eBay, used. It was in excellent shape, but it was, you know, $300. The new from McMaster Car, the correct drum switch was $400. So there is a difference between drum switches. You have to have the same number of poles and contacts and all that in order for it to work. So anytime you say 3-phase 220, 480, or 440 like that, the price goes way up. Yeah, there's drum switches out there that are 40, 50 bucks. Oh yeah, it'll work on. And I got to looking at them and the schematics, and oh yeah, it's a cheap little red handled, and oh, it'll work fine. And you have someone open up, look at the schematic. You don't have enough switches for, you know, 3-phase, you know. And I'm not going to go through and, oh, we'll redo it to where it's, you know, yeah, no. I want to keep everything like it's supposed to be. None of this putting a VFD on and modifying everything to run 110, 220. You know, I've got a rotary phase converter. So we're going to go through. We're going to look in here. You know, this has been a handle that someone made and put on here. So the actual knob that's supposed to be on here is not the correct one. That's just something someone made and put on there. Pretty unique though, a high-speed tool bit. So I am going to actually look at, I'll probably make a knob that'll go on there correctly instead of just having something that, it's little things like that. You just go through the whole thing, and that way I know everything will be working correctly. It'll be clean. So that way when I get ready to start grinding something, I know there's not going to be issue with the machine. So it's going to take me several weeks to go through and get everything just so. I did go through and clean out a lot of the garbage that was the grinding debris, and there's a little, I call it a puke tube, that out the back, because how everything oils with the oiler, and it drips. It's what it's called a total loss system. It feeds everything through, and there's little grooves up here where the ways slide on the oil. So I've already cleaned these off a bunch, and I've got to get down in there and clean the Y ways. The X's are clean, but again, I've got to take all this apart, get in there, degunkify, degrease, and that way whenever we get ready to start grinding something, I know everything's 100% good to go. So there you go. Just a matter of, there's going to be lots of videos of things that I think are unique. I will show you guys on this, so that way if you run across, and I know lots of people have done videos on restoring surface grinders. I'm going to get out there and look. I don't know if anybody's done a video on doing anything into the oiler. I'm going to look at that and see, but I've never been inside the oiler on this. So we're going to pull up. I've got a repair manual that gives the specs on the machine as a whole, and we're going to dig into information and find out, you know, and get this to where it works. We're going to disassemble it. Clean it up, anything that needs to be repaired, we're going to go about fixing, repairing, and this strain connector has been pulled up out of the box, so I'm going to have to remedy that situation to where we don't have debris that can get down in there. So little things like that, just going through. I figured I'd kind of share with you guys, give you a little footage since I have been busy last couple of weeks out at the bash and all that good stuff. So out with the old, going to be going in with the new. So there you go, good stuff. Yeah, I think I'm just going to go ahead and replace this wire, just because, you know, yeah, I'm looking down in here and it's still looking green and corroded. So I'm actually going to replace this whole piece that goes into here. Might as well, you know, get it done right. Go through it all, get it to where it works good. Let's see what we got here. Let's go ahead and take this apart here and see what we find. Shove that up out of the way. Let's open this up, see what's in here. Take this cover off. Alan Bradley used to make some pretty good stuff. Cutler hammer, Alan Bradley. And this is a more modern setup because this is square D. And these, there we go. Okay, oh wow. Looks good, looks really good. It's been sealed. And so this is very similar. This is exactly the same switch internals as on my mill. So this is Alan Bradley Company. Here's the part number and the form in there. So I will show that on camera. in case you guys are curious. You guys can get a look at all that. This thing was sealed very, very, very good. So we'll definitely clean the outside cover off. And this is going to get primered and painted. And yes, I'm going back gray. I'm not going to... It was repainted this green color at once, but there's actually gray underneath it. Now I know at times some of Boyar Schultz stuff did have a bluish or green color to it. But the switch is very clean. Okay, see how it moves in there a little bit? That's the problem I had with the other one, where things wanted to move around like that. What you have to do is you have to go in here and straighten this. But I'm actually going to remove this, and you know, we'll get in here and tighten this stuff up, clean it up. Let's see, because that being loose, which this is how it mounts in here, is a little different than the other one. That's the only place it's held is right up here. Make sure you guys can see this. Oh yeah, there we go. Oh yeah, tighten it up a lot. So, give a little more snug. Oh yeah, a lot better. And like I said, I'll actually make... Oh yeah. I will try to zoom the camera into where you guys can see in here. I don't know if you can see the contacts as they work in here. If you have to get in here and clean, you can see. Let me try to get the camera adjusted here, because I want you guys to see this. If you can see them work. I'll move this light over here. Okay, there we go. Okay, if you look real careful, you can see the little contacts move. There you go. And you go in there and you can clean those up. So there it's open, and there it closes and makes contact. So I will go in there with a points file. So right there, everything is all open. There's no contacts on the bottom. There's no contacts on the bottom. There's no contacts on the top. The fingers have essentially... So the fingers have essentially, at the all open position, they have come and closed, and they're not touching any of these areas. They're all resting at this middle piece. And depending on your contact, which way you want contact, it moves the appropriate cam to create the contact for whatever item. So these are contact points. I will definitely go through with a points file, or if you have a little fingernail file, that'd be the best thing to go through. Just, this thing's in excellent shape. I see just a little bit of, you know, from where they've been used. You can hear the fireworks out there. Again, it's July the 3rd, so everyone's blowing stuff off. But I will go through with a points file and clean those up with a small emery board very, very, very easily. So there you go. Trying to get the stuff off. So I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope this has been a little bit of educational for you. Again, as I go through all of this, everything is unique and different, and when I do get ready to go through here, I am going to video this for myself, as well as, you know, I haven't sat down and watched YouTube out there to see if anybody else has went through one of these. I will, but when I do mine, I am going to show it on video, so that way you guys can see, and I might approach things from a different angle or viewpoint. There's always more than one way to do things. That's what I always say on my channel. Everybody has their own method, what works well for them. But I am definitely going to look out there and see if anybody has done one of these, and I know I've got to go through, clean this up, a lot of TLC, but you know what? When we get done, we know it'll be 100%. 100%, and that's what we're shooting for. So there you go. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Also, a side note, I want to say thank you, I don't know if they'll watch it or not, to my 2 stepdaughters, Cyan and Kelsey, and also my wife. For Father's Day, after I got back from the bash, and I don't have all the specifications on it right now, but they gave me a new, very big computer, tower computer, that will help me do video editing, because right now I was just using an old laptop. For those of you that know, yeah, you can't do a lot of video editing on a laptop. So this is kind of like forcing me. It's like, here, go ahead. So this thing is supposed to be the latest and greatest, has the cat's meow, any and everything you'd ever want for like online gaming. I mean, this thing, the cooling fan on the top of the tower is 6.5 inches across. It's got a liquid cooled power supply. I mean, it's, you know, it's got Windows 10 on it and everything. So I just set it up, and we're gonna start using it, and it'll allow me to actually work with video editing. That was one of the other reasons I didn't, is because my computer was very limited. So now I'll have the ability to, I'll have a computer that'll allow me to do the job finally. So look forward to that. Going to be better quality videos. I've always said that's going to be my next step in the channel. So I am going to try to, you know, do some more with the video editing, unique camera shots. I know Keith Finner has been using a little lipstick camera to go in, borescope camera. Guys have showed you my borescope camera before, but that's pretty unique stuff. So always interesting to get a good up close view of things. So lots to come. Thank you again to all my new YouTube subscribers. I greatly appreciate it. I really do. Going out to the bash has given me a new boost of energy for the next year. Lots of great ideas on stuff. Again, I really enjoyed meeting you, the viewers out there. Had a fantastic time. Again, guys, if there was, I know there was so many people I spoke with. If there was a certain tool you were looking for that I said, you know what, I may have it at home. I'm going through everything. I know there was a gentleman I spoke with about a test bar. I will be getting through that into the shed next week where all that stuff is stored, and I will dig through it. I've got your information, your email still. I will make sure that I'm pretty sure there's one in there. I will find it and I will get it to you. If there's anything else you guys are, you know, you saw it, hey, do you still have, or whatever, I've got quite a bit of stuff. So hit me up, holler at me. You know, deals are still there to be had. So thanks again for watching. I love to hear the comments. You know, if you guys have a suggestion on certain ways to maybe approach working on that oiler, you know, I'm all open to it, because I've never been inside one of those. So if any one of you have ever been inside one of these oilers, email me at my public email address, eagledustoff37@gmail.com. Now, I know I can get manuals at vintagemachinery.org. Already downloaded some stuff from Keith Rucker's site. So he's a fantastic, phenomenal resource he's got there. So until next time, you guys, take care of yourself and take care of family, because remember, at the end of the day, you and your family is all you got. Until next time, be safe, get out of the shop, get dirty, work on a piece of equipment, because you know what? This stuff is fun. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.